All right, this week I'm launching a summer studio sale. I have a lot of stuff in this studio that I've made over the years that I have never published. It's never seen the light of day. Because as an artist, I have this problem where I make more art than I can keep up with as far as posting it online and sharing about it. So I decided enough is enough. I just made a new website this summer. I added a shop feature, and I am now going to post and launch a bunch of these things that I've made over the years. Mostly studies, so experiments in new mediums and new styles. In addition to my existing inventory is going to be on sale, so discounted rates available for that. All dropping this weekend, I think, this Friday, to my email list. So if you want to get on that, join my email list, go to my website, just join, and you will get all the info. So in this video, I am going to feature some of the pieces that will be available and tell you a little bit about them. So let's start with these. So last year in 2023, I got into a resin phase. I was doing a lot of pieces with resin. So this was one of my studies, doing 3 different pigments. I was mixing pigments and dyes into the resin. And I made this three-piece series. So they're to be hung, I think vertically or horizontally, but it's 3 shades of blue going dark to light. And yeah, my vision is that they hang vertically like that with some space in between. But it's cool, you can see the drip on the sides. They're all signed. Julian Castro 2023 resin study. So that's those 3, about 10 inches by 10 inches. Nice little set. Over here we've got, in my old studio in Miami in 2021, I made a series of paper pieces. Here they are. Also little studies, but also just smaller pieces for people to get that didn't want to get a large scale piece, mostly in this style that I was doing at the time. So we've got a bunch of these paper ones, different shades of blue, different color schemes. Some have this cool and warm color contrast concept that I did, but they're all like little, very textural pieces. This one has slightly different texture that I've never really done. This one is quite unique for me. Range of colors on the color palette. Another nice calming range of blues and purples, almost like a sunset gradient. Same with this texture. I think it's pretty cool. Reminds me of like a coral reef. This one can't go wrong with dark blue, with a range of dark blues. These are all signed and dated 2021. Another nice gradient piece. I like doing the gradients. Another cool and warm, and then this one, quite different color palette from me, but I've actually had a few people reaching out to see if I had any red pieces. So here's one that's more red and pink. So those are a series of paper pieces. More paper. I was requested to do a commission back in 2021, and this was a study piece that I did for that commission to show the client what the piece could look like with the white texture and the sides, the color side that we ended up painting the piece. You can see it now. And so this is still here and it's available. And then here's another one, same timing, but I later swiped some of this violet over it and magenta to experiment with a different style. So I think this is a pretty cool piece too, a little more textured and colorful. I got some more paper pieces here that I recently made this year in the last couple months as studies, working with oil sticks, which I'm now working on larger pieces for a show I will be displaying at in the fall and winter, inspired by these studies. So this is kind of like very Rothko-esque figurative stuff, different color scheme here. This one I wanted to do some shapes. I was almost thinking like, what if Picasso and Rothko made a piece together, mixing their styles. Same with this, very Rothko-esque, but some of the shapes, type of form shading that Picasso worked with. And then this one too, I personally really like this one. It is a little larger, Rothko-esque. Wanted to highlight kind of shame and fear were on my mind during this piece, and that was captured in the red. And then I wanted to show kind of the positivity and the bright on the other side of embracing the shame and the fear. So I did that with the turquoise and the blue, and it's almost like a glow coming from within the water. Yeah, it's a good contrast. Actually, the more I hold this, the more I don't want to sell it. I might keep this for myself, but here it is. These two I made in 2021, I believe, in my studio, but they were also just smaller experiment pieces. This is a style I was working with a lot back then. Very textured, very colored, super interesting compositions here. They can be hung horizontally or vertically. So that's those. Let's move on to some sculptures. So there was a time in 2020, I think, or 2021, where I was doing a 30-day creativity practice, which I've done many times. So for 30 days, I have to create something every day for 30 days. And during that time, these challenges have been very inspiring to me to come up with new things. So I had the bright and shiny idea to do some sculptures. So what I did is I took these wooden boxes and I painted each side a different color. And then I drove around Miami and found this area in Hialeah where a bunch of like kitchen countertop companies are, manufacturers, and walked into one, asked them if they had any scrap pieces, and they took me to their dumpster and they had a bunch of scrap pieces. So I got a few different pieces, went to Home Depot, bought a chisel, and I just chiseled them into bases for these pieces to sit on. So these are, and then I put rubber feet under it. So these are beautiful tabletop pieces. They could almost be hung on the wall too, but I think they look better as tabletops. So that's that. I've got 4 of these, different shapes, different sizes. Next piece, I recently did a commission. Someone saw one of my pieces. Usually commissions go something like this. Hey, I love this piece. Can you do it in a different color? And this size. So that's what I did. I don't usually, actually I occasionally work in black and white, but so this guy wanted black and white type of thing. So what I usually do, what I sometimes do with commissions is I will paint 2 or 3 versions of it just because of my style is there is a lot of randomness and chaos in it, so I can't perfectly match things. So for this one, I did 2 of these, and then I sent him a picture and he picked the one he wanted. And this is the one that stuck with me, and which is great because I really like it. It's black and white. It's titled Just Because the collector who got the commission, I usually ask them if they're getting this piece for a special occasion or if it has a special meaning to them. And some people have answers to that, and some people say, no, just because I like the art, I like your style, and I want something just because. So this is called, so the one he got is called Just Because, and this one is called Just Because 2. And I think it's a lost art to do things just because. I've got 2 sets of these resin portals. I did a couple portal series over the years with these circular canvases and oil paint. And then these, I was experimenting pouring resin over the portals. So I've got 2 sets of 3, resin portal study. So this is a smaller one. I think these are 12-inch circles, portals, sorry. And then I've got another set of 20-inch portals. These are cool. I dyed the resin deep like blue violet color before I poured it onto the piece. So the resin also holds some color and creates more of a depth, and it almost looks like these portals are in the water. And then the reflection is interesting. And it's cool. They're a good set to be hung vertically or horizontally or as a triangle, however you want. What else? Oh, got some more over there. All right, back to resin. Here's a resin piece I did also in 2023 when I was experimenting with resin. This is a wooden surface. In this one, I dyed the resin violet, and then I also got these metallic iron filling, or it's iron, shimmer, dust, powder, whatever. But it's a pigment, it comes in a bag, iron filling. So I mixed that into the resin. So when you look at this, it shimmers, but it's not like glitter, like thick glitter. It's more of a shimmer. So this is really cool. And then there's some chunks that I didn't mix fully. So the chunks are in here, and it kind of looks like almost like spatial bodies or something like that. I don't know, like those pictures you see of space, of like the nebulas or whatever they're called, crab nebulas. Yeah, very interesting, subtle, interesting thing to look at. This is a fun one I did recently. Just a colorscape of blues, dark to light on a 12 by 12. I did this around the time of my 20 Shades of Blue series, and this one was just like a side experiment. I did it, I was messing around, and I was like, oh, I like that. So for that reason, it's called the Lost Shade. It's not numbered like one of the 20 Shades of Blue. And then this one is, this was an experiment, a study I did with a pouring technique, pouring different colors of oil paint in a very thinned down consistency in different parts of the canvas to create this gradient effect. And I love this one because it's just magenta, yellow, and blue, but the way they mix in the different areas creates different colors. And if you look really closely, this part here, I had mixed in some of that iron shimmering into the violet, I believe. So it's cool. And then I was debating painting the edges, but I kind of like seeing the pour over the edges, so that's cool. Pour study, signed on the edge in a light blue, so it's kind of blends in. I've also got these 6 12-inch square studies I did. I started them in my studio in 2021 using a thick paste acrylic medium, and my canvas spinner. So they came out with like this thick texture, really thick texture, circular compositions. And then when I was working in resin last year, I decided to resin over them. I mixed in some of the shimmering iron in those as well. And now they're quite cool looking with the shimmering effect that you can see now in this footage. Last things I forgot are right here in front of me. I have 7 jars. These started as something to do with leftover paint from paintings. So starting back in, 2020, 2021, I started collecting leftover paint from pieces that I made and storing it in these jars. So this jar is just full of oil paint. Who knows if it's even dry in the center of it, but that's this. I have a few others like that. And then I did a project a few years ago in Morro Bay, California. I was there for a retreat, and I actually did some paintings on the beach, and then in oil paint. I took a photo of those paintings, and then I scraped the wet paint off of them and put it into here. So the paint from the painting is in here, in these two. This one, I put some of the beach sand in it. So there's beach sand from the location where this was made. So this holds the painting, and I have a digital image of the painting, of course. So those 2 paintings that I did like that, I turned into NFTs. This was during the time that NFTs were booming. So this is pretty cool, I think. It's a painting in a jar, and it no longer exists anywhere but in this jar that you can still hold. And then there's the NFT, which is the record of the image of the painting, which is cool too, because that's a digital art piece, but you can't hold the digital piece because it's digital. So I thought it would be cool to have something that you can hold, you know? So I got some jars, leftover paint jars, and let's call it repurposed paint jars, and the NFT paintings. And that's it. Besides all this stuff that I just mentioned, I've got my existing inventory of paintings, different price ranges, different discount ranges. The discounts, as of now, are being automatically applied when you add them to your cart. So you'll see information about that in your email, and how to collect any of this artwork in your email. So if you want to subscribe, go to my website. There should be a link in the description to sign up for my email list, and you'll get all the info when we launch on Friday. And until then, thanks for being here. Goodbye.